Now we're here to talk about Perfect Daughter. You said it was inspired by your mum in past interviews I've read. Tell me about tell me about your mum's life and how we see it reflected in the book.
My mum's amazing. She's one of my great heroes in my life. She was born into a fairly poor family in the East End of London. Her dad worked in the docks, my wonderful grandfather, all his life. And my grandma was one of 8 children, and they had a very difficult upbringing, I guess, because money was scarce, space was scarce, time was scarce. My great-grandmother worked as a cook in a pub, so it wasn't by any way a life of luxury or indulgence. My mum is incredibly beautiful, and she started modelling when she was 16, 17 for Mary Quant in the 60s, which was just like, wow, she's still beautiful. Met my dad when she was a teenager. They got married very young and had me when they were 18, babies. She became a hairdresser and she worked at home. My dad worked in Ford's in the factory, and life was fairly difficult. But she always sort of gave me this thought that if you can think it and you work hard enough, you can make it happen. She never saw anything that was a boulder to any of us being successful. It was all about seeing those boulders and finding a way to leap over them. And she's always put her family first, and her dreams and her hopes and her fears have always come second, third, fourth to what everyone else wanted and what was going on. She was kind of that traditional, plate spinning mum. She still is. And it was when she was looking after her grandchildren and my grandma, who was suffering from dementia, and she sadly passed a couple of years ago. I watched her just trying to keep it all together, and I thought, there's no time for you. What happened to you? Do you ever look in the mirror and think, gosh, I had dreams and I had hopes and I had aspirations, and suddenly here I am, the glue for everyone else. But what she wanted and anything that, would bring her happiness had kind of fallen by the wayside. And I thought, that's got to be true for women all over the world. And it is. I've had an amazing response to it. Because actually women have this knack of being able to just take on everyone else's concerns, difficulties, worries, and what they want and what's good for them kind of gets lower and lower on the list of priorities until you almost feel like you can't be seen anymore and you're sort of disappearing.
Is that true for you?
No, because I think I've looked at my mum's example, and I think I've looked at a lot of women my age. I'm 50, and I think I worked very hard to keep balance. So it feels, when I started writing, that was the start of my emergence in a way to do something that I really wanted, and it felt quite selfish. I do spend hours and hours every day writing, so in some ways it does feel very self-indulgent. But it's taught me that I can do both. I can still be a great mum. I can still be there for my husband. I can make time for my friends and my family. But I'm also able to have this amazing career. And I think it's a good example that actually you should do that. You kind of owe it to yourself. This is our one life. What are we going to do with it? Yeah. And one of my characters in another book says, life begins when we let it. And I think women should give themselves permission to start living. We should let it. We should follow our dreams. It's good for us. It's good for your family.